down here. But Joe's and Silverhawks are something that they've, I don't want to say a long time coming, but they've got a little bit
No,
of
no, you can say a long
history.
time coming because that's the understatement of the year.
But so to that effect, how does it feel to have, these lines really begin, I guess, as far as Ultimates go, and from, what I've been seeing online to, mostly very positive reception thus far?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest part for us, obviously, is when people get them and they're like, oh man, this is exactly what I was hoping for, or ideally even better.
Yeah.
As opposed to the opposite. So, we've always been fairly confident that when people get them, they will be like, oh my God, now I know what I was waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
It just took a lot longer. And, that waiting can get more and more frustrating the longer it goes along, which is completely valid. But it is wonderful to see because, yes, we're making them for us, but I'm also making them for other people. It is great to have that feedback back from people of like, okay, you guys did a good job. I'm super happy with these. What's next?
Yeah.
Obviously, because that's what allows us to make more.
Yeah.
So it's very heartening is not the right word, but we're going to go with heartening to just be like, okay, not only is it out, but people are excited and they're happy. It's just sort of like that's the last moment, the wash of all, here's 2 years worth of emotions that get to roll away like the sands of time and the
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of people we were expecting, people to get, especially the Silverhawks with their finish. To be able to experience that, because try as everybody might at conventions, it was hard to get the finish on these guys to read on camera.
Right.
And the whole time you've been telling people we're going for the cartoon look and finish here, and it was still hard to click.
But it's still got metallic sheen to it, but it's still got to be matte like the cartoon. It's this in between land.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was expected, but I will say, I have Steel Will here right now because he and Bluegrass caught me by surprise for something else. Yeah. Entirely, because this whole time we were thinking about the finish on their costumes when I was taking close-up pictures just the other day and noticed that
I think I saw this. Somebody posted something about this.
it may have been me that posted something about you guys have started to use the printing technology on these two fellows, and I gotta say that's pretty exciting. What was the turn to that?
It wasn't so much a turn. It's all about which factory you're using and what capabilities they have.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. So
yeah,
not all the toy factories have, the ability to 3D print faces.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. And so this particular factory, as everybody that's been on this saga with me, I assume if you're 10 minutes into this, listening to this, you've been in the saga with us before. You have heard the trials and tribulations of fighting the dragons, whatever. We had to move from one factory and restart at a separate factory and everything. And luckily, that factory did have face printing technology. It is usually it's an expensive technology, so it's usually at the factories that deal with volume partners, meaning I make stuff for Hasbro, I make stuff for Mattel, make stuff for Playmates.
Right.
I do not make stuff for Super 7 because you're not making 100,000, 200,000 at a time. Right. Now, obviously that technology, like all technologies, starts to get more and more commonplace. For all the years we've been making toys, we have not been using 3D printed faces, and we can still really do a great job. Mm-hmm. But when we can get to 3D printed faces, I'm not having to, like, if I'm the faces I'm printing now, it's like, here's the white, here's the black, here's the green, here's the white dot on top. And then here's it with the same other eye. Like, the chances for things to get misaligned, you're talking about faces usually have 10 to 12 paint applications. So that's 10 to 12 chances for error. And it's very finite, where with the printer, it's printing one half of the face, then they move it, then it prints the other half of the face. But you can have much more control. And now you're talking about 2 pieces of, things to match up. And you can obviously be less heavy-handed. It isn't, with the tampo prints that we do on faces and stuff, it's either 100% the color or it's not the color. Or if you're doing inkjet, you can soften the edges a little bit, make it a little less opaque. You can do things that you can't do in tampo.
Well, I think it speaks to the quality that this factory can do, because I didn't even realize that I was looking at it until I got it under like the macro lens, and you could see, the stippling that kind of adds to the shading of some of the faces and whatnot. So that was really exciting to see it on, especially on human or humanoid, I guess, characters where you've got those likenesses. So since it is there for Silverhawks, is series 1 now and series 3, are Silverhawks all being done at the same factory now?
Same factory, same factory, same factory.
Yeah, and
So
and I know that there are a couple of lines that you have where you actually use human faces, where like actual humans. I think that's going to be really impactful with those.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the sooner we can do it, the better, right?
Yeah.
This isn't 100% final. There's crud on the blister. But
Oh, there's the big boy.
yeah, there's a black spot like right here inside the blister. Because this is one of our samples, so I put it back together. So, but
yeah. So
wave 1 is pending.
Yeah,
wave 1 will be here soon.
It's coming soon, and Joe's kind of not maybe literally in the same boat, but Joe 1 has delivered, and now Joe 2 is going to be close as well, right?
Yeah, this is another example of scale.
Wow. It was funny because I know that the transformed Monstar has the gigantic box, but even series 2 on its own, if you got all 5 pieces like I did, it's like every box almost seemed like it was almost a little bit different just because of all the different shapes and sizes and whatnot.
All the stuff. Yeah, I have gone off topic already, but I mean, it's all coming out. It's all getting here. It's really good. I think, people are going to be very excited by it. And obviously Joe is coming out, like you were just saying. I totally stepped on your transition to Joe by
not at all, because I
just want to talk about Silverhawks, man.
I was going to say I can talk about Silverhawks for a really long time, because I think that there has been whether it's the factory or the relationship with you guys working with them, a step up in like some of the joint engineering too. You've got these kind of mid torso joints that are going on now here that move quite well as well. So for all the things that I was like anticipating, really wanting to find out when these arrive, there's a lot of other things that I'm discovering that is a little bit different, or even, dare I say, maybe a little bit, kind of raised as far as that goes with this first but really second series of Silverhawks. So I think it's exciting kind of overall too.
It's exciting to be done with it. I mean, those changes that you're talking about in engineering, I mean, we usually make all those cuts in engineering, so we're the ones that are evolving it. So it's not just a T-joint, crunch.
Yeah.
It's more of the rocker there. So those are all decisions that we've made. It's just taken this long to get them to you.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at a lot of what we're doing now, most of the time you see more of the rocker on the chest instead of the ab crunch per se.